The tribal chief just sent a message that will make your blood run cold, and if you think WWE is playing games with Roman Reigns' comeback story, you're about to be proven dead wrong in the most brutal way possible. What happened on Monday Night Raw wasn't just an attack, it was a declaration of war that Roman Reigns will answer with the kind of vengeance that reminds everyone why he's been the most dominant force in WWE for over 4 years. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker just made the biggest mistake of their careers, and Roman's response is going to shake the entire wrestling world to its core. You think you've seen Roman Reigns angry before? You haven't seen anything yet. The man who held the Universal Championship for 1,316 days, who conquered legends like John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and The Undertaker, who single-handedly carried WWE through the pandemic era, just got blindsided by two rising stars who clearly don't understand the level of hell they've just unleashed upon themselves. Let me paint you a picture of exactly what went down, because the mainstream wrestling media is completely missing the deeper story here. Monday Night Raw was supposed to be just another show, another step in Roman's return journey after his brief hiatus following his loss to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. But Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker had other plans that are going to backfire in ways they never imagined. The attack itself was vicious, calculated, and designed to send a message. Reed, all 330 pounds of him, came crashing down on Roman with that devastating tsunami splash that has been putting superstars on the shelf for months. Then Braun Breaker, the genetic freak with the bloodline of wrestling royalty running through his veins, added insult to injury with his own brand of punishment. They thought they were making a statement. They thought they were establishing themselves as the new alpha dogs in WWE. They were wrong. Dead wrong. Because what they actually did was wake up a sleeping giant who has been holding back his true fury since returning to WWE. Roman Reigns didn't climb to the top of WWE by being soft. He didn't become the tribal chief by showing mercy to those who cross him. And he certainly didn't survive 4 years of carrying the entire company on his shoulders by letting disrespect slide. The warning that Roman sent through his representatives backstage after the attack wasn't just words, it was a promise. A blood oath that these two young lions just signed with their own hands when they decided to put their hands on the head of the table. And if you know anything about Roman Reigns' history, you know that when he makes a promise involving violence, he delivers in ways that leave permanent scars on careers. Let's talk about what this really means for Bronson Reed first, because this man has been on an absolute tear since returning to WWE. The Australian powerhouse has been systematically destroying everyone in his path, using that tsunami splash to end careers and crush dreams. He's been positioning himself as the monster heel that WWE has been desperately needing, and his recent work has been nothing short of spectacular. But Bronson Reed just picked a fight with the wrong Samoan. Roman Reigns has made a career out of conquering monsters. He's defeated Braun Strowman when Strowman was at his most dominant. He's conquered the Fiend Bray Wyatt when everyone thought Wyatt was unstoppable. He's even managed to get the better of Brock Lesnar in their multiple encounters. What makes Bronson Reed think he's any different? The truth is, Reed is walking into a situation where Roman Reigns has home field advantage in every possible way. The Bloodline storyline has given Roman a level of character depth and emotional investment from the audience that Reed simply cannot match at this point in his career. When these two finally collide, and make no mistake, they will collide, the crowd is going to be firmly behind Roman, which means Reed is fighting an uphill battle from the moment the bell rings. But it's not just about crowd support. Roman Reigns has something that Bronson Reed doesn't have: experience in high-pressure situations that can make or break careers. Roman has main-evented multiple WrestleManias. He's been in the ring with part-time legends who could have buried him if he wasn't ready. He's carried storylines that the entire success of WWE programming depended on. Reed, for all his talent and impressive physical presence, hasn't been tested at that level yet. And that's exactly what Roman's warning was about. It wasn't just a threat of physical retaliation, it was a promise that Reed is about to be thrown into the deep end of the pool with the greatest swimmer WWE has produced in decades. Roman is going to test every single aspect of Reed's game, from his in-ring psychology to his ability to handle the pressure of a high-profile feud with the biggest star in the company. Now let's talk about Braun Breaker, because his involvement in this attack adds a completely different dynamic to the situation. Breakker isn't just another rising star, he's wrestling royalty. The son of Rick Steiner and nephew of Scott Steiner, Braun has legitimate bloodline credentials that actually rival Roman's own family legacy in professional wrestling. This creates a fascinating subplot that WWE Creative is definitely going to explore. You have Roman Reigns, who has spent years building his character around the concept of family legacy and bloodline superiority, suddenly facing someone who can make legitimate claims to having just as impressive a wrestling heritage. The Steiner family has been a dominant force in professional wrestling for decades, and Braun has been proving that the genetic superiority isn't just talk. But here's where Bron Breakker might have made an even bigger miscalculation than Bronson Reed. Roman Reigns has been playing the family legacy game at a master level for years now. He's turned the concept of bloodline into a storyline that has dominated WWE programming and created some of the most compelling television in the company's recent history. Braun might have the genetics, but Roman has the experience and the storytelling ability to turn this into a narrative where he comes out on top. The warning that Roman sent wasn't just directed at their physical capabilities, it was a challenge to their ability to operate at the level where he's been thriving for years. Roman Reigns doesn't just win matches, he wins storylines. He doesn't just defeat opponents, he absorbs their momentum and makes it part of his own legend. That's exactly what he's planning to do with both Reed and Breakker. What makes this situation even more dangerous for Reed and Breakker is the timing. Roman Reigns is currently in a position where he needs to re-establish his dominance after losing the Universal Championship to Cody Rhodes. He's hungry in a way that he hasn't been since his initial rise to the top of WWE. A hungry Roman Reigns is a dangerous Roman Reigns, and Reed and Breakker just volunteered to be the sacrificial lambs that help him reclaim his throne. The psychological warfare has already begun, and Roman is operating on a level that his opponents simply aren't prepared for. The warning he sent wasn't delivered in a moment of rage, it was calculated, measured, and designed to get inside their heads long before they ever step into the ring with him. Roman knows that the mental game is just as important as the physical confrontation, and he's already won the first round. Think about it from Reed and Breakker's perspective. They just attacked the most protected and dominant character in modern WWE history. The pressure that's now on them to follow through and actually defeat Roman Reigns in meaningful encounters is enormous. If they fail, and Roman's warning suggests he's confident they will fail, their credibility takes a massive hit that could take years to recover from. Roman Reigns, on the other hand, is in a no-lose situation. If he destroys both Reed and Breakker in dominant fashion, it reinforces his position as the alpha male of WWE and proves that his temporary setback against Cody Rhodes was just that, temporary. If the matches are competitive but he still wins, it shows that he can elevate younger talent while still maintaining his superiority. Even if one of them manages to get a victory over him, Roman's established character work is so strong that he can absorb the loss and use it as fuel for an even more compelling comeback story. This is the kind of strategic thinking that separates Roman Reigns from every other performer in WWE. He doesn't just think about winning individual matches, he thinks about how every encounter fits into the larger narrative of his character and his position in the company. The warning he sent to Reed and Breakker wasn't just about their attack on Monday Night Raw, it was about the entire trajectory of their careers and how crossing him is going to impact their futures in WWE. Let's dig deeper into what Roman's retaliation is likely to look like, because if you think he's just going to challenge them to standard singles matches, you don't understand how the tribal chief operates. Roman Reigns has perfected the art of making his opponents look foolish while simultaneously elevating his own status, and he's going to use every tool at his disposal to make Reed and Breakker regret their decision to attack him. The first thing Roman is likely to do is isolate them from each other. Reed and Breakker gained their advantage by working together, but Roman's response is going to force them to face him individually, where his superior experience and ring psychology can be fully utilized. He's going to pick them apart one by one, and by the time he's finished with both of them, any momentum they gained from their attack will be completely eliminated. But it's not just going to be about defeating them in the ring. Roman Reigns has become a master of character assassination through his promos and storytelling. He's going to expose every weakness, every insecurity, and every limitation that Reed and Breakker have as performers. He's going to make them look like children playing in a man's game, and he's going to do it in a way that the audience buys into completely. The warning also suggests that Roman is planning something that goes beyond just individual revenge. He's thinking about how this situation can be used to reinforce the larger Bloodline storyline and his position as the head of the table. Reed and Breakker just provided him with the perfect opportunity to demonstrate why crossing the tribal chief is a career-limiting move, and he's going to use their punishment as an example for anyone else who might be considering challenging his authority. What's particularly chilling about Roman's response is the confidence behind it. This isn't a man who's worried about whether he can handle Reed and Breakker. This is a man who's already planned out exactly how he's going to destroy them and use their destruction to further his own goals. The warning wasn't a threat born out of anger, it was a business decision made by someone who understands exactly how to use violence and intimidation to maintain his position at the top of WWE. From a storyline perspective, this situation is absolutely perfect for WWE Creative. They have two rising stars who need high-profile feuds to establish their credentials, and they have the biggest star in the company who needs to re-establish his dominance after his championship loss. The attack on Monday Night Raw was the catalyst that's going to drive months of compelling television, and Roman's warning indicates that he's ready to deliver his side of that compelling television in the most brutal way possible. But let's talk about what this means for the broader landscape of WWE programming. Roman Reigns' warning to Reed and Breakker isn't just about these specific individuals, it's a message to the entire roster about what happens when you try to challenge the established hierarchy without proper respect for the position he's earned over the past 4 years. The timing of this situation is particularly significant because WWE is currently in a period of transition. With new leadership making creative decisions and storylines being adjusted to reflect changing audience preferences, there's been some speculation about whether Roman Reigns would maintain his position as the company's top star. His response to the Reed and Breakker attack is going to definitively answer that question, and his warning suggests that the answer is a resounding yes. What makes Roman's position even stronger is that his character work has evolved to the point where he doesn't need championship gold to be the most important person on WWE programming. The tribal chief persona has transcended traditional wrestling hierarchies, and his feuds automatically become the most compelling storylines regardless of what titles are involved. Reed and Breakker are about to learn that lesson the hard way. The psychological impact of Roman's warning is already being felt throughout the WWE locker room. Every other performer is watching this situation develop, and they're taking notes about what happens when you cross Roman Reigns. The way he handles Reed and Breakker is going to send a message that extends far beyond these specific opponents, and that message is going to shape how other wrestlers approach potential conflicts with him in the future. This is exactly the kind of situation where Roman Reigns' experience in carrying storylines becomes a massive advantage. He knows how to structure a feud so that every segment, every promo, and every match builds toward a satisfying conclusion that reinforces his character's dominance. Reed and Breakker are talented performers, but they're about to be taken to school by someone who has mastered every aspect of sports entertainment storytelling. The warning also reveals something important about Roman's mindset coming into this feud.